In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use Order Builder, which is third-party software available on the Depot forum. You can install it anywhere on your local drive, and then when you first open it, you're going to see a window that looks like this. And the first thing that you want to do, go into Settings. And then at the top under Run a Directory here, it should default. I believe it defaults to this, which is probably what most people have. If you have it somewhere else, you would just click Browse and put the proper location for Run 8 in that section. Then I recommend checking these two boxes here: exclude unowned regions and exclude unowned DLC. So that's going to pertain to these below. So it's all kind of gray here, but if I click in here, see how these turn blue? So the ones that are blue are the ones that you own. So I don't own these two, HRS Southeast or Selkirk, so I leave those unchecked. And then over here, own DLC packs, same thing. I've got all of them, so I went through and clicked, want to make sure they're all blue. Then I'll show you what that's going to affect here in a second. Under default region filter, this just lets you choose what region when you're managing your industries, which I'll show you in a second. This lets you choose the one that's going to come up as default every time. So I currently have it on Southern California. If I was going to be working in Alabama, because I have that route, if I was going to be doing Alabama a lot, I would just set it to Gulf Coast. And then that way, if I go to manage customers, this is one thing I'd like them to fix. See how this opens way up here? Every time if I drag it down here, close it, open it again, it's way back up there. You got to drag it back. So hopefully that's something that gets fixed in a later update. So you'll see here now customer management. See how I'm on Gulf Coast right here? And I could obviously switch it to whichever one, but it defaulted to Gulf Coast. So these are all Alabama industries. Now, if I went back to settings and I change this to Southern California for default and save, and now go to manage customers, you'll see that it's defaulted to Southern California. So that's just a nice feature to let you set which one you're going to be uh, working in a lot. So now what this will let you do is it's ideal for making local trains, but it also could work for a big manifest train that you want to send into your train yard. But I'm going to show you here just to make local trains. If we just start, let's pick advanced drainage here. This is one we just did. Oh, YBK 50. Wonder if this is the one that we did here. Advanced drainage systems in the last local job we did, LRF 73. So you'll see here up at the top, you've got ID, which is ADD. That's the tag that the cars will be tagged with and what your industry's looking to accept. The industry name, Advanced Drainage Systems, the local LRF 73. This industry is part of the Southern California region. And then the routing tag is currently FR and 73. And that, you could put whatever you want in there in routing tag. You could even leave it blank if you want. But that, I'll show you in a second here, that's going to, you have the option later when you're making your train. You can put the routing tag as a prefix so that it'll show up just before the industry car tag, ADD. It'll show up before that. So like here they have FR because this will be out of the UP Fresno yard. So that's why it says FR. And then 73 is just an abbreviation for the local job. And then here we have the orders. So right now we've got 8, it just says 8 loaded. And if you hit the down arrow, you'll see it's plastic pellet hoppers. Now all of this configuration came from the Depot Plus when the creator made this order builder program. So it's already built in with orders like this. So if I click 8 load, click this here, you'll see it's looking for 8 loaded plastic pellet hoppers. That's what it'll generate. Now, one thing that it would be nice in a future update if they could add this is the ability to edit orders. To my knowledge, you can't edit an existing order, or at least in here, you could do it if you exported to a spreadsheet and do it and then re-import the spreadsheet. But there's no way to right click or to double click to my knowledge to get into here to change it. And down here you just see add order or delete order. So if I wanted this to be regular hoppers, let's say not plastic pellet, I can't edit it. I'd have to go to add order, and then I would go up here and I would go maximum cars 8, because that's what the other one says. If I move this over a little bit, you could see 8 loaded. So drop off state loaded. Got maximum 8 up there. Use identical cars. That will just, if you chose a bunch here, whenever it creates a train, it'll just randomly pick one of the ones you chose down here. I think it'll randomly pick whatever one and then only use that car for that train. And then the next time you build a train, it'll probably randomly pick a different type of car from what you've selected down here, and then but only have that one car. So I'll leave that unchecked. Hazmat type, this is really nice, being able to pick this right here, what kind of hazmat placard you want. And it's got the great descriptions. But I'm not going to do anything there. And then I'm going to go down here because I said, let's just do regular hopper. So let's do C14. And I can click this. And then if I click the arrow, you'll see it selects all of the C14 hoppers. So it'll randomly pick from all these. But if I want to narrow that down, which a lot of times I do, I like to customize when I'm doing my jobs and pick like certain ones that I like that make more sense. So this is UP. So like, let's go with these two UP ones, and let's go with this CAGX, let's just say. So now it's only going to pick from those 3. So we got these 3 selected here, and now that's pretty much it. Now I just have to hit add, and you'll see we just got it just popped up there. So here's the new order. And if I click the down arrow, you'll see it's looking for 8 loaded cars. And it's only the C14 hoppers that I checked off, the 2 UPs and the CAGX. Those are the only ones that'll show up. And then I can go up here, click this one, come down here and hit delete order, because we were replacing this one with one that we tailored to the hopper that we want. Now, in this case, this is just a demo. So I'm just going to delete the one that I just made. So I'll do that. And it says, are you sure? I'll hit yes. And now we have the original still in there. So that's how easy it is to add or delete an order. I just wish, though, like I said before, that you could come in and just double click this and it would populate that edit window. So you can maybe, if I wanted this to be 10, like if I had this kind of complex with like multiple types of hoppers and like custom, really took some time to pick exactly what I wanted, but I wanted this to be 10 instead of 8, I'd have to go into add order and redo the whole thing. Or, like I said before, do an export into a spreadsheet, edit it there, re-import it. And that's not too hard, but it's just extra steps. It'd be easier if it was just right here. So you could also add as many orders as you want. Like if I wanted to do 6 and empty, and let's go with acid tank cars. I'll just select both. I can add that in there. So now it's going to also generate empty acid tank cars as well, not just the plastic pellet hoppers for this industry. So once you've got your customers dialed in with the orders the way that you want, then you can click over here on generate train. And this is going to bring up the generate train window. You could see we're still in Southern California region. So it's going to list all the local jobs for Southern California here. So what I'm going to do for this example is we're going to go with LS910J here, and I'm going to click it and hit the drop down arrow. You'll see it automatically. If I click it, it automatically selects all 3. Now, if I wanted to leave out San Joaquin Refining, I could just uncheck it. And then see this turns to a square now, letting you know they're not all checked if you had it closed like that. And then it would only generate cars for these 2 industries. But for this case, I'll keep it checked. So now, and you can also, this is where like if you want to build a train to come into the yard for sorting, if you wanted, you can check multiple industries here. like this, and then you could just generate a huge train. Um, or if you wanted to work two local, whatever you want to do, you could. But that's just an option. You can check multiple locals here. You don't. The train doesn't just have to have one. So now that we have this checked, if you come up here, we got car generation range. So the minimum right now is 50%. The max is 100. So that means that it's going to be random, but when it generates this train, the max amount of cars for a particular industry will be whatever the max is that we put in previously when we configured the order. So if it was 8, then the most we might get here is 8. And then for minimum, that's going to be half. So obviously, the least amount for an 8 car order, we would see only 4 on the train if it randomly chose the minimum. Now I can obviously drag this up to 100, so it's just always going to be the max amount every time. Or I can bring it down to 0, so that way you might not get any cars for a particular industry. Um, Usually I'll leave it at like maybe 10 or 20. But again, you don't have to, because of what I'm going to show you later, you could even just leave it at 50. And when we customize the train later, you can modify how many cars are in when we use the external consist editor. So that's what these sliders do. And then it gives you your train information here. And it's because it's random, this is a guess. So that's why you have minimum, average, and maximum. So like if I go right now, we got a minimum of 27 cars. If I bring this to 0, it says we could have technically minimum 0, which I guess we could. But you'll see as I slide this, the minimum goes up and the average goes up. The max stays the same because we left it at 100. So it just gives you an idea of what to expect, which is really cool about how long your train probably might be. So then put that back to 50. Over here, we've got car sorting, blocked by customer, blocked by order, and random. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up the external consist editor, and then back in the order builder, I'm going to leave it as actually, so the first option is the most organized. So let's start, and that's what it defaults to. So yeah, I guess let's start there. We'll leave it on the defaults to blocked by customer. I'm going to leave keep locals together unchecked because we can only have one. See how it has LS910J there? If we had selected more here, see how they fill in there? If I click more on the over on the left. But we only are using the one. Then for car naming, ID only will just be the 3 letters. So like ADD, BOLX, whatever the industry is. Prefix with local name. Actually, let's do it. We'll just demo it real quick. So we'll just leave it on ID only. That's the default. And then overwrite, we'll skip that for now. And then hit generate train. Yeah, it already titles it right here, LS910J automatically. So I'm just going to put an A at the front. Or actually, I'm just going to put some underscores. And that way it just pops up way at the top here. So I don't have to scroll down to find it. So I'm going to save it. And you get this confirmation, train generated successfully, 45 cars, and saved to, and that's where you saved it, to the trains folder. So now in the external consist editor, I'm going to go to SoCal. I'm going to open, here it is at the top. See, I add those underscores, so that way it stays up there. I can find it quick. I'm going to open it. And now you can see what we're looking at. So here's your tags, and they're all just the 3-letter AMC. CGL and SJR. And I picked, this is a good demo local job because there's only 3 industries, so it'll be easier to show how everything works. And we did block by customer. So this is going to be the most sorted. So it's really nice because it sorts it alphabetically by tag. So you got AMC, then CGL, then SJR. So if you had a huge local with tons of industries, the tags will all be alphabetically sorted. Then it also, which is really nice, is sorts them by the car type, which I really like automatically. So you see all these T107 tanks are all up here at the top. Then you've got the C114 covered hoppers for AMC. And then you've got the 105 tanks, the acid tanks right here. And then they also have the number 2 placard, which is flammable liquids, because that was put into the order builder when we created the order. That's what was chosen for this already from the depot. So it's already on there, the placards, which is really nice. Then we go to CGL. They only have T107 tanks, and then SGR is only T107 with a placard on there. So now let's do this again. I'm going to clear this out of here. And now this time we'll go blocked by order. And then I'll hit generate train. I'll overwrite the one we just did. And then let's open it up. And now you can see, because AMC has a few different orders, it's changed now. The C114 hoppers are first, then the 105. Oh, but then you can see here, we've got some 105 tanks mixed in with 107 tanks. So it's not as cleanly blocked. You've got some car types mixed in a little bit. So this is the one order here. And then let's see, if I go back to manage customers, and let's see, AMC, Amber Chemical. Yeah, so see, they have 3 different orders. Loaded loaded tank 107s, loaded C14 hoppers, and then loaded acid and at this 107 as well. So because we had block by order checked here, it's going to do it a little bit more. I think within the orders, the cars can be mixed up a little bit, as you see here, because you got 107s, 105s, or maybe not. Because that was part of the same order, took 105s and 107s. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be random each time. It just happened to be that the last time I did it, it came out very similar to when I had it blocked by customer. But you can see now, so I just did block by order again down here. And now you can see this train. We've got AMC up here, but then we also have SJR mixed in now, and then CGL, and then we've got more AMC because this is a different order. I think, yeah, these are the acid tanks? Yeah. So this was the other order for AMC, and now this is at the back of the train. So you're going to get more of a random mix if you have block by order, much more random than by customer. Which if I do by customer, generate the train again, save it. Now, if I open this, it'll just overwrite. I want to overwrite that one. And now you'll see again, we're back to AMC, this order, then the next order for AMC, and then the next order for AMC, the covered hoppers, and then CGL here, and then SJR. There you go. I think just one order. So it's just like perfect. Everything's perfect there. And then now if we do random, and now you can see everything's just totally randomly scattered. So if you're doing a supply train instead of building a local train using order builder, you'd probably just use random. So now let's go back to by customer, but now down here under car naming, I'm going to go instead of just ID, because you could see there we just only had the 3 letters. I'm going to go prefix with local name. Now you can see we've got, so it prefix the tag with the local, which is LS910J. So we still have our AMC at the end and our CGL and SGR, but we got our local on there too. So if you're just using Order Builder to build a train, to build one local train that you're about to work, you probably don't need that in there because you know that's the local you're working. You just need the 3-letter tag. If you do prefix with routing tag, that's going to use, if I go back to customers, that's going to use, instead of putting this local tag here that we just did in front of the 3 letters for the ID, it's going to put this routing tag in front. So BK910J. And this would be handy if you're going to be sorting it in a train yard or over the hump, and maybe you got your hump configured with tracks for BK or 910J. just gives you more options, which is really nice. So that way you can tell like what train yard it's going. Bakersfield, UP Bakersfield is where it's starting from. So if I go with prefix with routing tag for the LS910J and then do um, block by customer generate train, now you can see instead of the local, it's got that routing tag, BK910J AMC. They're still again sorted perfectly um, by the customer alphabetically, and all the orders within are also sorted. You can also, if you come down here, you can use custom prefix. So maybe you just wanted for this. Oh, so I think you could add it. So if I did ID only, I could just type anything. I'm just going to type Sunny. So now it should put Sunny and then the tag, the three letters. And there you go. It automatically puts them in caps, but you got Sunny SJR. So it just added that before. So if you wanted to put whatever you want while you're generating this train, go right ahead. And I think if I did like prefix with local name and did the same thing, it should put them all in there. And it does, yeah. See, there's the Sunny I typed plus the local job plus the three letters tag. So that's how easy it is in here to generate a local train and have it be random amount of cars. And it's going to be perfect to the cars that you want to use. So it's really, really nice and quick. And then you just save it as a train into your trains folder. And then when you're in Run 8, you just load it into the consist editor and place it on the map wherever you want to start. And then you're ready to go. All right, we're at UP Bakersfield. And now all I have to do is hit F1 to open up the train menu, select the LS910J, and you can see it says made with order builder. The train length, weight, you get the loaded and empties. I'll hit load into consist editor. And then I could have added some locomotives in the external consist editor. Normally I would, but I forgot. So I'll just do it right here. I'll just add these two, which put at the back. So I'll bring these up to the front. And then all I got to do is just place the train. We'll just put it right here. Hit escape to close the consist editor. And then here's our train. And we can put our local symbol right there. And then you can see here how it's oh, we still have Sunny in there. The local and then the car to AMC, CGL. So what I'm going to do here, quick example, this is probably pretty obvious to everyone, but if you want to change it all at once, click one, scroll to the bottom, hold shift. Now they're all selected. Now whatever I do in any of these is going to affect all of them. So like I'll come in here to this one and I'm going to delete Sunny out of here. So it affects all the car tags. So I just wrecked it there because see, by doing that, now they all say SJR. So that's one thing you don't want to do. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to place it down again. And in order to do that the right way, I would have to just select the SJRs and delete out the Sunny part. And then I would have to repeat that on CGL. And then obviously the same for up there for the AMCs. And then you keep the tags the proper way. So here's our train, and then you can see right here we've got if I turn the tags on, we've got AMC acid tankers. That's also part of the acid tank order. This 107 Procore. I think that's a 107. Here's the more AMC. That was a different order, and then here's the third order for AMC. Because remember they had 3. And then if I keep going, CGL, and then back here is the SJR tankers. I'm back in Order Builder real quick under the customer manage customers, and here's AMC Amber Chemical. And remember, these are the 3 orders that are in there. Here's the acid tanks, here's the C14s, and here's the other tank order. So that's why we have the 3 orders on the train. And you can have as many orders as you want. I recommend watching my video that I put out maybe a month ago um, about building local trains before this one, if you can, because I explain more about how this spreadsheet works. I'm not going to get into all that detail again in this video, but what I'm going to show you now is how I use the order builder and the spreadsheet to make a local train in a method that I think is better than what I showed in that previous video. It's different. For me, I think it's better. I like it's a little bit easier and it requires less steps. So what I'm going to do is in my spreadsheet, and I'm going to use the local that I did last in California, the LRF 73 as an example. So first, I'm just going to filter the spreadsheet so that we're only looking at this local job. And then I've got my build sequence here that I want it to be built in, and then my industry stops here. And again, I talk about this in that building local trains video, so go check that out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here to the order builder. I'm going to go generate train. And then we're in Southern California. I'm going to check LRF 73, and here's all those industries that are in the spreadsheet as well. And then I'm going to do blocked by customer because I want it to be blocked really, really well. And then I'll leave the sliders the same for now. And then I'm going to do, yeah, I think I'll just do the car tag. And then I'm going to hit generate train. And then I'm going to save it as LRF 73. And then I'll put those underscores because I just want it at the top. So that's saved. And now in our external consist editor, I can open it up here, LRF 73. I'll hit open. And here's the train, and it's all blocked. Remember, alphabetically, going all the way down to ZND here at the back. But now, when I'm building the train, I want it to be in a different order, and according to this build sequence here. So I'm going to sort by this build sequence. This is how I want my train to be built. And if you're wondering how I came up with this, check out that building local trains video. So now all I would do is just come in here and arrange it. So JBT I want first, which is actually JFT. Here you see the tag there. So I'll just click those two, drag them up to the top. I want them first. Second, I want ZND. Select those two, drag those up just behind JFT. Because remember, the locomotives will be at the front. I could actually put them in here. Let's just put one up here. So there's the locomotive there. So we got JFT, ZND. Next would be CRL here, Keras Reels I want next, because that's number 3. So CRL, put right after ZND. And then you keep going. And then obviously if like Keras Reels here had center beams and covered hoppers, order builder, because it sets it all by order, they'd be perfect up here by covered hopper or whatever, and then I could just drag them in place. But the order builder being able to sort them by customer, the way where it does it like super cleanly is really nice. Makes it super very easy. So that now I just would go down this list through all of these industries and get them in the order by just highlighting, dragging. And then once I have them in the order and you don't have to do this. You can do it manually if you want in the yard. I mean, there's so many different ways. This is just what I do because I don't want to have to, I want it to be blocked the way I want when I start the local so I can just get going and start switching out the industries. So that's it. And then once you've got it organized the way you want, obviously you just come up here and you can hit save override because it's going to save there. And then back in Run 8, you can just drop it in like I showed before. And then you're ready to go. Place it on the track where you want, and it'll be blocked exactly how you want. And you can start heading out and switching those industries. I'm currently in the folder where I saved Order Builder on my hard drive, and you'll see this documentation folder. And if you open that, you've got identical user guides. One's a PDF, one's a Word document. And here's the Word document version. And I highly recommend reading through this. It's only a few pages, and it'll give you further explanation on how everything works. And at the bottom here, you'll see where it talks about, you might have noticed, let's see, it's down the route prefixes. And I'm not going to get into this, it's a little technical, but there's an explanation up here. You probably won't have to worry about it, but you might. So you want to read this part here under advanced options. And then that's talking about the route prefix and explaining where you might need to use it when you're creating your train and why. And that'll do it for this video. Just a quick one here on how you can implement Order Builder into your local job trains and make it easier to make trains and get them on the map. So again, I recommend watching that building local trains video. I'll put a link in the description that I made several weeks ago, and combine that with Order Builder. Then you don't need to use the random numbers in the spreadsheet, and you don't have to get your cars from either manually or spawning a supply train to then add them to the stored units in the consist editor. That whole step, you can eliminate all that by using Order Builder, because that generates the train file for you that you need. And then all you have to do is just either leave it as is, or just, as you saw, just drag the cars in the order that you want them to be blocked in before you start depart for working the locals, and then you're ready to go. So it's so easy. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.